Good morning. It is August 1st, and I'm doing a check in. We're moving into the second half of the Gangsta Grannies global visit here. They're participating in our intensive healing vacation retreat um, or intensive sabbatical. And I have decided to check in and kind of just do a live running or daily kind of commentary on what's been happening in real time to just kind of chronicle any highlights that happen and talk a little bit about the journey, a little bit about the Gangsta Grannies Global Initiative this year or this season, beginning fall of last year. And that'll be ending in the middle of August when the ladies leave this year, has been one of our Heal Together initiatives here at the International Welcome Center. And this season, I decided that I would focus on older women and supporting the healing journey of older women. And that's really where the initiative started. It started by offering the opportunity for up to 5 ladies to come and participate in the intensive month-long healing sabbatical here at the International Welcome Center in Cuenca, Ecuador, on a full work exchange. And so the ladies that applied, there was some intake process. There was some talk about their commitment to their healing journey and about the work that they would embark on while being here. And part of the exchange is them doing the work, really committing to doing the work and really and sharing about their journey. And so the first cohort came in January, and this is the second and final cohort of our Gangster Grannies Global Initiative. And our ladies just passed the halfway mark. 15 days in, we're still in the middle of step 2, but they are 15 days into this journey, taking a deep dive into really looking at and evaluating and unweaving the some of the critical incidents in their lives. And they were tasked with deciding on 30 incidents that have created some sort of pain and discomfort in their life, trauma, and began working on those. And it's been a journey so far. Lots of emotions have come up, lots of realizations, even as we're in this fact finding part of the journey. We don't do a whole lot of analysis during the first 4 steps of the process. Um, there's been a lot of revelations that have come out of it so far, and yesterday was no different. We talked really about tracing tracing our fears, finding where they lead us to. And we had a conversation yesterday about what might have been fear and realized it was a fear of being unsupported. How many times in life have you not felt supported? And then one of the words that's come up, hyper independence, um, reaction behaviors, because not wanting to really feel that letdown. And we talked about really 2 things about that being the case, that we may have experienced those situations, but that isn't every situation. And we've also talked about being able to sit with that feeling of being let down. If you ask for help, the potential is someone may let you down. They may promise to help you and then not, or they may not be able or willing to give you the support in the ways that you need it. That is a reality. And some of the challenges that we experience in life is not having the capacity to sit with those strong emotions, to be able to feel what it feels like, to be able to let those emotions process and then go back to processing. Does this person have the right to say no to my request? Absolutely. And I may be disappointed, but I may not be traumatized when I realize that my expectations or holding unrealistic expectations may be the real culprit. Um, if I expect you to respond and you haven't made an agreement to respond in that way, I'm trying to control your behavior and I'm trying to have you read my mind might be the real problem and where the trauma is created, not the act of the person not supporting you. And so we're learning to really sort through that stuff and really find what the problem is, and really trace it back to the root if possible. Healing is not linear. So sometimes it's not getting to the root immediately, it's getting to the layer that's showing itself right now. being able to identify what's happening and then take that and the emotions that come from that and follow that into the value systems that we have. In one of our instances, we were talking about, as it relates to health. And really, maybe it's about the fear of dying. What's the worst that could happen? What's your biggest fear about that? Well, I could die. Well, is that your fear? What's your value about dying? And we trace that to, no, I believe that you're here for the days you're supposed to get. Well, then what's the fear really about? What's the fear really about? The fear is about not being supported. I got to take care of myself. Nobody else can take care of me. I've got to do it on my own. So therefore, I don't ask for help because I fear not being responded to in a way that feels good. I feel fear being let down. I feel being unloved or unsupported. And so really taking our emotions and using them as information and tracing them to where our real issues may lie. And then that gives us the information to then be able to do the healing. What are you healing from? Being able to identify where our hurts are, where our wounds are, is an important part of this process. And the ladies are doing the work. They're identifying where their hurts have been in the past. And that gives us the opportunity to then be able to unweave those hurts in a way that's meaningful, that's productive. We've talked about no wasted time. We've talked about healing being that thing in our life that lets us get value, even out of sometimes really, really bad or painful circumstances in life. You've already lived them. You've already spent the energy on the experiences. Do you want to get some value out of them? Or is it just the waste of hurt and spent energy? So we've talked about that, about being able to take situations and learn. Oftentimes, the first education that we get, the first awareness is more about ourselves. How can I learn more about me? How can I learn more about my values? How can I put words to those things that I believe that I've held but never put words to? You're going through that process. But going through that process also gives you information to really evaluate the relationships that you're in. One of the Gangsta Grannies had a going away party virtually, and they invited me. And I told her support network, she's going to come back different. She's going to come back, and she may come back changing how she establishes boundaries in her life. She may come back and evaluate some of the behaviors that she has incorporated into her life. Those things may change. I encourage them to continue to support her, even if those boundaries in her life, the values in her life are more clearly defined when she comes back. But it may cause change. It may cause change in how she interacts. It may cause changes in what she's willing to do. She may not be as willing to read people's minds coming home. She may not be as willing to guess or do the emotional work for others rather than expecting them to speak their mind clearly. Change happens, and change does have a ripple effect. And in some cases, as she's working through her healing, she may change how she interacts in the old relationships that she's coming back into. She's gone away, and those relationships have stayed the same for the most part. And both of them will be coming back with a very different perspective, I believe. I believe their perspective is changing even in real time as they're here, as these tools are beginning to impact their everyday life, how they're looking at the world, how they're seeing the world. And we're talking about healing. So is it bad or is it good? It's progress. It's progress. Healing sometimes is messy. It's complicated. It's not black and white. One of the songs we listened to yesterday, the one rendition of it was Back to the Middle. And it happens to be a version that's sung by India Ari and Raul Midon, two artists that I enjoy a lot. And the song talks about that pendulum swing of healing. You start healing and you may overswing center. Sometimes the healing process, I'm healing and I overswing, and that healing borders on arrogance. Or you overswing in another direction and nobody else can do the work. And so therefore you have to, because you're healing and you see the needs and you respond and you overswing in the other direction. The goal is balance, but that's the reality too. And part of this is the reason I think that healing, supportive spiritual communities that are healing are so important to me. Do you have communities that hold you accountable even as you are healing? And part of this journey that the ladies are going through are specifically about not healing alone, but healing together. That if we each are committed to a healing lifestyle and we're choosing to do it together, we can hold each other accountable. We can challenge the values and together decide if those values are sustainable. But we can support each other. And sometimes presence and identification is the support that we can give others. Our presence allows others to speak their truth in environments that are safe and life supporting. Identification helps us see that we're not in it alone. Others have felt these strong emotions and survived, as we will. And so we talked about really the value of healing in community, not only here in the physical space of International Welcome Center, but also here in the community of Cuenca, Ecuador, a community that I have found much more in alignment with my values, a community that feels much more life embracing, supportive. It's the regular hugs that I get from people that back in the old world wouldn't have that much connection. It's the people I buy food from. It's the doctors. It's the random people that you meet where hugs and touch and connection are part of the lifestyle here. And for me, those are things that are valuable. So this community really has been a place that feels for me like the least resistance for healing. Community supports a much more heart-centered existence. It feels supportive. It feels nurturing. It feels comfortable on a lot of levels. And so the ladies coming into this space, not just the environment of the International Welcome Center, but the environment of Cuenca, I think is a part of the healing logic that I think is important. So healing, yeah. And then we switched gears and we talked about really celebrating our growth. That was a big part of our conversation yesterday after we finished our Sankofa circle. How do we celebrate our growth? And one of our participants still has some work obligations while they're here for this month. But we decided that we were going to put our outside clothes on. No, I decided I was going to put my outside clothes on and go with them. They were already dressed for the day. I wasn't, because I wasn't going anywhere, so I didn't have to. But I did. Once we got finished, those work obligations got checked off the list. We decided that we were going into town and we were going to celebrate. And we went to the ice cream parlor and celebrated with ice cream. We wandered around some of the markets. We were in Parque Calderon, which is kind of the hub central of El Centro. It's the main park in front of the iconic cathedrals. And we went next door and had ice cream at the ice cream parlor. We meandered through San Francisco Plaza, the Flower Plaza. We looked at the vendors along the street. We wandered through to San Francisco Plaza, did a little shopping. We wandered through to the market. I was showing showing the ladies one of the markets that has a very nice selection of healing herbs and things that I know not much about because most of it's in Spanish, and the signal is really weak over there in that corner of the market. But looking at some of the bottles and the jars of the different remedies, herbal remedies and Amazonian plants and remedies that have been concocted from that. And we just talked about the connection of having those types of aids in life and having that be a respected part of the culture. And then we came home and we were tired. And I don't know if anybody ate, we ate leftovers for dinner and then went into the popcorn part of the day. But I think not too long after sunset, all of us had gone to our respective corners. Um, if I can guess, probably got up in the bed because we were tired. I was tired. The motion of the day and in town and the walking and just it was a good weather day. Just enjoyable to walk through the city here. The city is abuzz with motion, people, children, people playing, people walking, flowers everywhere. And so we ended our day really celebrating the work. Regularly, we talk about honoring the work of healing. Yesterday, we were celebrating the work of healing, celebrating the accomplishments of the commitments, the revelations, the openness, the awareness, the lightness that comes from doing the work of healing. And so we ended our day on a sweet note, nourishing food, even the sweet treats, the little joys and delights in life are just a part of supporting their healing. And so I was grateful to be able to participate in on the celebration as well. And it was a good day. It's been nice weather. Had a couple of weeks of chilly weather, which has kind of been the norm. Last year, it was the same kind of thing. We had 2 weeks of really cold weather, and cold weather for us means it's not in the 70s. It might be in the 60s, so think fall weather. We were getting some rain and some overcast days, but the past few days have been iconic Cuenca weather. 70 to 75 degrees, partly cloudy skies, or you've got the bright blues and the fluffy cat clouds going by. A nice breeze, but sandal and t-shirt weather. At night, you definitely, as the sun starts going down, need a sweater, but not much. And so just as the sun was getting ready to come down, we hightailed it on home. The market was closing down. They don't stay open, all day and all night. They open relatively early for Cuenca, the mercados. But before sunset, we saw families leaving. They were going, and I said, this is why they have time to be at the park in the evenings, have time to spend time with their families and their children. And I see some of that in the park across the street from my house, that even before the sun goes down, families are together, spending quality time together, even on a weekday. And that gives me joy. So we ended on a sweet note yesterday, and the ladies will continue the journey. We've got a few more days in step 2 before we switch to step 3, and we are making progress. We are uncovering more information about ourselves as we go through and journey through this process, and as we really unweave the things that have caused us harm so that we can release them. And so I'm proud of the work that the ladies are doing. We also did our accountability check-in. Part of this is about the social tech really practicing that in real life, using those tools, and part of that is accountability. There are some agreements that we made with each other. There were some things that I agreed to provide them with, and there were some things that they agreed to provide in the way of work exchange. And so at the midway point of the intensive with these ladies, I sit down and go back through our agreement, our written agreement, our signed written agreement, where we have come into agreement to say, this is what we're willing to bring to the table. And it was a very easy process because I felt, and the ladies felt, that they were giving what they had agreed to, and that they were receiving what they had expected to receive in the way of our exchange. And so that felt good, because part of this is really looking at alternative ways of doing commerce. If all we know is dollars and cents, there might be other ways of doing commerce that miss out on a greater richness of how we can share in a sustainable way, the give and take of community. And so part of this program also models and says that there's value in what you have to offer. There's value in what I can offer these ladies, and there's value in what they can offer me in way of exchange that feels equitable. And so we, after our Sankofa circle yesterday, had that accountability time where we pulled out the agreement and looked at what we had agreed to bring to the table. That too is a part of community because sometimes we let each other down. And being able to evaluate that and, if need be, readjust and get back in alignment with the agreements that we make so that harm doesn't, come into the relationships that we have. And so that was really good. Felt good to be able to see that we are in agreement. We've kept our words to each other about giving, um, and the expectations are being met on both sides, both the give and the take from both of us, or from all of us. So it was another full day, and I feel rested, and we'll move into the next day and see what today has to offer. So doing these daily check-ins just to kind of give myself a chronicling of what's happening, what's going on. What else is going on? We've got, for those that may be interested in this training, reach out to us at friends@nowastedtime.com. You can go to the International Welcome Center's website at globalundergroundrailroad.com and find out more about some of the programming available through the International Welcome Center. If you're interested in training, we have a healing vacation retreat. It's a 1-week retreat. It's not as intensive as the month-long sabbatical, but it still helps you engage with these tools and begin to use them in deepening your healing journey. And on November 6th through the 13th, we have a healing vacation retreat plan for Kitale, Kenya. I'm super excited about that. We have space available. It'll also be a really cool cultural exchange with leaders from 4 nations, including Kenya. And so we'd love to have you come and participate on that healing vacation retreat with us. But you can also contact us and see about scheduling private retreats, or other training, our leadership training, or other programming that we have available. You can also find more information about the programming, about the social tech healing tool specifically, by going to the website. The newest book, the first in the social tech series of books, is Revolution Must Come to Our House, Our Home. And in there, not only talking about the vision, the greater vision of the Global Underground Railroad and the social tech work, but also takes you through the healing tools so that if there are tools that you want to start using, there's some guidance. And so we encourage you to check that out. You can click the links to find the book, either the ebook or the print book. The print book's available on Amazon. The ebook is available through the link on our website. So either globalundergroundrailroad.com or nowastedtime.com, and find more information. You can go to Gangsta Grannies Global website and find the social media links for all of our Gangsta Grannies, including the ones that are here now currently, Danielle Brooks and Weta Patton, and follow their social media, Instagram and YouTube and Facebook, and hear about their journey, because they too are chronicling their journey daily and sharing with you about their healing journey and the insight that they're receiving from it. So connect with us. We'd love to have you come and be a part of the Healing First movement that really is the foundation of this work, and us becoming socially sustainable so that we can deal with the issues of community that need healing also. But we start with the part of community that we can absolutely control, and that's ourselves. And yeah, thanks for letting me share. Live life fully today.